Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dialer's Tactics. Now, I don't have a whole lot of rares that I've done deep dives on in this game, but I'm completely remiss in the fact that I haven't covered Turin yet. So in this video, we're going to do a deep dive on Turin. We're going to explain why she's awesome, why everyone should focus on her, she was an initially overlooked healer, but now everyone just sings her praises. So let's dive into Turin. First of all, I got to give the developers, for a phone game, there's some pretty wicked detail in how these wings are detailed and how they move, her eyes, her face, all the little fur, these moth type antennae. Kudos. Like I said, beautiful game. So Turin is interesting because the game gives you her day one. She is your very first login reward when you start King Arthur Legends Rise. Should you use her? Yes. Should your first... Well, not your first. So you're going to get some rare memory stones along the way when you start the game. And I would definitely say the first C1 into one of your rares should be Turin, because we'll get to her chivalries, but she was, until Nika came to the game recently, she was the best plug and play healer in the game, and she's still fantastic. She still has a lot of just obscene things in her kit that go along with her increased healing. She's just a really good unit. I think she is one of the only rares. Let me look at my tier list. Yes, her, Cormac, and Sarah are the only rares in my tier list that make it to the S tier level, and she is ranked first among them. She's just a great unit. And it's crazy that the game gives you Morgan and her day one. Two of the best units in the game. Not the best, but two of the top two tiers, in my opinion. So let's start with her passives. Rares, they don't have a whole lot of passives. You can see I can actually do more. I should do more. I've been missing out. Oh yeah, this one really doesn't matter. Should I though? Yeah, why not? I got the stuff. Okay. So really the only passive you need is this one. That second passive, that's not important. Rares only have two passives. So passive number 1. At the start of battle, change the weather to night and rain. If you do not have her C1, her first chivalry, she can only heal in the night, right? And she pairs well with Morgan for a beginning player, because Morgan has increased speed when she gets below 50% at night. Okay, so she pairs nice with her. She also pairs nice with a few units like Anya. See Anya down here? No. But back to the passive. At the start of battle, change the weather to night and rain. Grants recovery increase to all allies for 3 turns. And what that is that's I think it's actually 40%. Grants recovery, yeah. So it's increased healing. So they're going to get that buff for 3 turns. And then when she heals, she's going to do increased healing on them. Well, it's actually they're doing the healing themselves, because Turin is a hot healer, like a heal over time. So it's actually not her healing. She's just granting the heal over times to the allies, and then they're healing themselves. So when those hots proc, when they take their turn, they are, through this recovery increase mechanic, are going to do increased healing. So it's all coming from Turin, but it's not an active heal, which is going to affect her keepsakes. All allies for 3 turns. If Anya is present, then grants recovery increase 1 to all allies for 3 turns. So you can stack buffs twice. So there's going to be a lot of extra heals out on your team if you have Anya on your team as well. So there's some synergy there, but not needed. So that's really it for her passives. This one, you can get the cooldown down to 4, but it's really niche and it's really complex. It's one of those if this then. So when attacking while weather is night, so her only attack is her skill 1. So you have to have the weather to be night. Then she has to use her skill 1, which you don't want to do. You always want to do either her S3 or her S2. So you almost never want to proc this. But if the weather's night and you use her S1, then you're going to gain this healing elixir for 2 turns when maxed. And what is healing elixir? It's only a 10% chance. So almost never going to happen. So there's already so many if then that's. So if night and attacking then, and then on top of that, it's only a 10% chance to trigger upon using a skill, but it will heal the ally with the lowest HP for 50% of the target's max HP, so half their health bar, and it's going to grant them abnormal status immunity for 1 turn. So you see, this is almost never going to get used. Cooldown 1 turn. So, yeah, it's nice, but you can just effectively ignore her passive 2. So let's go into her relics. She comes in Wind. Wind Relic is pretty much great. It's sufficient for everywhere you're going to use her in game. We'll get to the other ones, but you can see I don't have, even though I've had her day 1, I don't have a whole lot of her stuff maxed. You see her S1 and her S3. That's a big old 6ers. I got really lucky and I maxed her S2 to 3, and then you can just stop, because for 90% of this game you're just going to be spamming that S2. So let's just start with the S2 because it's the most important. Grant all allies effect accuracy 2 for 3 turns. You're just going to keep applying it. Grant all allies defense increase 2, so 40% increased defense for 3 turns. If the weather is night, right, it has to be night, grant all allies recovery over time for 2 turns. That's the recovery over time aspect. So if you're going up against a hero like Gawain or Merlin that can unintentionally switch it to day, you kind of lose out on a little bit of turn viability. And then, yeah, obviously maxed, you want that maxed. So let's compare that. Let's just compare the S2 with the other ones. So Frost, I did briefly run Turin in the Nest of Yaskelhide. But now, with the introduction of Nika, you're never going to have to do that. That was the whole point of me getting this relic, leveling it up, and putting some skill ups into it. Grants recovery over time, so 1 to all allies for 3 turns. If weather is night, then you get effect resistance, and you gain defense increase 1 versus, I think this was defense increase 2 and effect accuracy 2. So it still gives that recovery over time, right? Same as Wind, right off the bat, for 3 turns. So it procs every turn. But the Frost was nice against Nest because Nest is a fire, so they're dealing decreased damage to Frost units. Now, Fire, let's look at that S2. This is the PvP one. Usually Wind is the PvP-centric relics in this game, but Fire, here's where we get all nice stuff. So, again, it's if weather is night, grant allies recovery over time. Only 2 turns, right? So you only get it for the 2 turns, but you can keep applying it. Grants all allies evasion rate increase 2 for 3 turns. So you can stack this twice. So that's 40% increased evasion stacked up to 80%. 80% increased evasion almost equates to never getting hit. And I have been at a point in PvP where I had my Bedivere versus Turin with stacks of evasion increase 2. I timed out. Never ever could hit her. Just couldn't hit her. And grant all allies effect resistance increase 2 for 3 turns. So Flame is really nice for PvP teams. Very, very nice. Because if you can get her fast enough where she can get that evasion rate up, GG, man. Most cases, you're going to win. So that's why you got to, when you're going against Flame turns, you got to take her out immediately. Otherwise, things are going to go south. Or have someone that can strip those buffs. Or have someone like a mark unit like Iwaret and Sigrun that can negate those buffs. So that's the most important. S2 is the most important ability in all of Turin's kit. You see I got her S2 on her Flame maxed. I got her S2 on her wind maxed. Now let's discuss the other abilities on her base relic. So this is her big heal. This is an active heal. 70% independent chance to grant each ally effect resistance to. You see she's just applying those positive defensive buffs to your team. 70% independent chance to grant each ally attack speed increase, so also offensive buffs. And then the heal that comes at the end, 100% independent chance to heal each ally for 10%. You get that up to an extra 5, so 15.7% of her max HP. So that is nice. You're only really going to pop this S3, though, in case of emergency. Because whereas the recovery over times heal when the ally takes a turn, this heal is an active heal, heals them now on Turin's turn. So for the most part, you're going to be using her S2, but if you need that now healing, it's a nice big heal on her S3. If we look at Frost, same thing. So you see, though, the Frost comes with that AoE heal, but it also gives extra recovery over time, so extra hots to your allies, but it's a 50-50% chance. So it's a coin flip. Wind is better. With Fire, now we're losing the healing. Fire is a PvP. You're losing the healing. But remember, her passive 2 needs an attack, although you're never going to use this in PvP as well. Attack one enemy 3 times. 156%. I'm surprised. Each point of resistance increases the damage per hit. So a lot like Anya. Total extra doesn't matter. So this is just an attack. So you have the healing on the Frost and the Wind. You have an attack on the Flame. So now let's just look at this one. This is a single target heal. Attack one enemy and then heal the ally with the lowest HP. Very straightforward. Attack one enemy, heal the ally, lowest HP. Attack the enemy, heal the ally with lowest HP. So given the introduction of Nika in the game, you're probably not going to need this Frost one ever again. Unless you're going against specific instances where you're going up against fire enemies. For the most part, she comes in Wind. You're going to be able to use Wind the vast majority of the time. Fire, really, really good for PvP. I do recommend leveling that up. She's still very viable in endgame PvP teams. All right, so that's her passives. That's her relics. Now let's look at equipment. So you see, I have mine geared kind of odd. So, so I initially recommend gearing her for a vigor set and a life set. Keep in mind, though, you see that she's holding her fire relic. That is how I have her set as base. I still pull her out. I put her in her wind relic when I want her to heal, and there is a very valid debate for wanting her to go fast so that she can constantly heal, constantly refresh, re-up those hots on your allies. So how I would recommend building her is vigor and life, because so the hots, the heal over time, those are not dependent on Turin's HP, right? Hots are active and triggered by the ally, and she's also giving the allies at the start of battle that recovery increase ability. So they can heal themselves. They're actually healing themselves with the help of Turin applying the hots. The only time you're going to get the benefit of the life set is, one, keeping her alive, making her a little bit more sturdier, and using her S3 in Frost and in Wind, because that is going to increase your max HP and increase the heal of that emergency heal. Now, I have moved mine to a resist set. And the reason why I've done that is because if she's CC'd, specifically for PvP, if she's CC'd, she can't get the evasion buffs out there. If she's CC'd in Forbidden Dungeon, she can't get the heals out there, and she's effectively neutered. So I have switched. I used to have recovery on the orb. Or wait, no, I still have recovery on the belt, but I used to have recovery on the ring, and I have since switched to a 2-piece resist set, right? Effect resistance, so she's going to have a higher chance to resist CC effects, debuffs, negative status effects, and I have her in the speed because I want her to go as fast as possible. So how I would recommend her at endgame in her final form is Vigor Set. You want HP percentage on the neck. You want HP percentage on the earrings, which I don't have a resist one in that. So, but I still recommend HP percentage on the earrings. You want an attack speed because the more she goes, the more she's going to buff your team. Attack speed on the ring, attack speed on the orb, endurance on the banner, and then recovery for increased S3 heal on the belt. Now, I recommend an immortal set on the trinkets or on the keepsakes, but do keep in mind that the only way you're going to proc that barrier is off of her S3 and her S1. Her S3 only in Frost and Wind, and all of her S1s. Hots don't count as active healing. After using a skill that heals, gain a barrier, a 2-hit barrier. The S2, that's your allies healing themselves with the benefit of her applying the hots. That's not a heal. That's not going to trigger this. So just keep that in mind when you're playing her if you don't see the barrier pop up. But that is how you should gear her. And then for substats, I would honestly prioritize... Oh boy. Okay, for endgame, attack speed, substats, then HP, then recovery, then effect resistance. Yes, in that order. That's how I would gear her for substats. Let's see how I did. Let's see how mine is geared up. So 215 speed, that's not that fast. I don't have good speed substats on my Vigor. Too many people want good speed substats right now. But you do want her to be able to spam that S2 and over and over again. It's definitely Vigor Set. You see her recovery is right there, 50% extra recovery over time, or recovery for, so her heals are going to be 50% bigger. And really, that's really all you care about is speed, recovery. Effect resistance is 57%. Is that true? Yes, 57%. Not that high. I would actually like that at 100, but that's not going to happen unless you put it like an effect resist neck and an effect resist belt. There is an argument to say you could want an effect resist belt. Why do I have her geared twice? Oh, I have her in a speed set here, but and there's that effect resist belt. Interesting. Faster. Crit rate? Ew. Attack speed, yeah. So this one's got a speed set and a life set. At one point, I was trying to make her go fast. You're not going to use this speed set. I would still advocate for this set right here. But recovery versus effect resistance. I kind of like the effect resistance more. I kind of do, because the recovery, like I said, you're going to be spamming the S2 more. So the recovery is only effective on the S3, which you're going to be using less. And if you want healing like that from her S3, you're going to be using Nika, not Turin. So I'm pulling the trigger. Ba-bam. There we go. 80% effect resistance. That's better. So there you go. There's how to gear her. Now let's show you where she's used. So you use her everywhere. Everywhere. Right here, you see this guy? He's in Master 1. He's running Flame Turin. Flame Turin was the team there for a while. If we look at rankings, she's kind of fallen off. Ever since we got series, she's kind of fallen off, so you don't see her anymore. Like, there's another one right there. Guaranteed that's fire. But do you see any other rares up here anymore? No. There's Turin again. So you do see some Turins in the top 100. They may be hidden. I don't know. There's a Cormac, so there's another rare. But she does have a place in endgame PvP. But you got to make sure that you're running the fire relic in PvP. Elsewhere, you can run her everywhere. For these dungeons, I still have her in my Aldry team. Very, very, very good. She comes in Wind. Wind is the one you want to take into Aldry. She's very good there. She's just used everywhere. You don't really want to heal her in Plane of Beasts. You're not going to use her in Gorgos. You're actually not going to use her in Shrine of Storms. So I lied. You don't use her everywhere. Out of the power-up dungeons, you're really only using her in this one. But then when it comes to these dungeons, there was a team comp. It was, I do believe, it was Cormac, Morgan, Sarah, and Turin was enough to get through stage 10. So there was a brief time when you could run the 2 healers. Now, you can pretty much just run like Nika, and there's a bunch of teams you can run in this. This isn't my team. This is just one I was showing off in a different video. You don't need her as much here, but there was a place for her here early on. Oh. Do I use her here? Yes, I'm using her in this one. Why? Because this is a Frost Dragon, and obviously Wind, right? I use her in this still today. Is she better than other ones? She works. And then she's not here, but you can use her here. You can use her so many places. Clan Raid. Okay, well, we were using her because remember she gives all those defensive buffs and some offensive buffs, minor ones. But we were briefly using her. Let's see if I can find a person. There you go. See, there's a Turin used in stage 30. Right? So obviously she synergizes well with Anya. So this. Let's see. Anybody else use Turin? Nope. But I have shown you a place where she is used. So she is useful in Clown Raid at the end. Obviously, you want to use her in her favorite dungeon. She's the Hound one. And then she has lots and lots of places used in Forbidden Dungeon. I got to show you guys the spreadsheet. Okay, let's bring it up. Let's go Forbidden and let's blow this up to 150. Okay. Let's move my head down here. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. You see right there, floor 12, hard mode, Turin. Floor 13, there's a Turin. There's a Turin. Floor 14, there is a Turin. There is a Turin. Floor 15, there is a Turin. See? She is still used everywhere. She's not in 17, although Loki just showed a team using Nika and Turin that was able to clear floor 17. No Turin there, no Turin there, no Turin, no Turin. So floor 23, Turin, Turin. Floor 24, Turin, Turin. Floor 26, Turin. Is that going to be it? 26 was the last one? Yeah, that's the last one I got recorded. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, she's used everywhere. Everywhere at endgame still. Still a massively useful unit. I recommend everyone build her out. Build her out in Flame and in Wind. Still my favorite rare, my most highest rated rare in the game, Turin. So, word of the day, safe word of the day, in homage to her nice little fuzzy moth antennae, I want you to put Mothra. Mothra! It's Mothra! Mothra! I don't know why I just did that. I just look like an idiot. Put Mothra down in the comment section below. I'll know you made it to the end of this video, and I will thank you profusely. If you have any comments, questions, concerns of anything I've said in this video regarding Mon Mothma, aka Turin, put that down in the comment section as well below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will catch you in the next one. Cheers, peace, bye-bye.